Hi, I'm Carrie Cook, and I'm the former mayor of Williams Lake, and I'm a longtime instructor at Thompson Rivers University. I've been asked by the Sokoton National Government to kind of give you an introduction to Politics 100. Here we go. I want to start with why voting is important. Some people don't think that their vote will make a difference, and I'm here to tell you that it does make a difference. I know I've lost many elections and the closest one by 6 votes. So your vote is important. Every vote counts. And I also want to just let you know that we didn't always have the vote. I was really surprised to find out that the women in Canada didn't get the vote till the 20s, and First Nation people in Canada didn't get the vote till 1960s. So a lot of people have gone before us and fought hard to ensure that we have a right to vote and that our democratic process is intact. Okay, next slide. Here we go. You're already familiar with your own First Nation elections, so this presentation is going to be concentrating on the 3 other levels of government: local government, provincial, and federal government. Local government. So local government for us in this region involves voting for in the city of Williams Lake, which has a mayor and 6 councillors. And it also involves the Cariboo Regional District, or commonly known as the CRD. The CRD is made up of 16 directors that represent the Cariboo, including the 4 municipalities of Williams Lake, Quesnel, 100 Mile, and Wells. It's one of the largest geographic regions in the province. So that's local government. Provincial government. The province is divided up into 87 ridings. And these we vote for our MLA, which stands for Members of the Legislative Assembly, which meet in Victoria. And of course, we know that the next provincial election is Saturday, October 24th. So that's provincial government. Federal government is made up of 338 seats or ridings in Canada, and we vote for our MP, which stands for Member of Parliament. And of course, they meet in Ottawa, and I believe lots of your chiefs have been there in the last few years. So I'll go into a little bit more detail with local government. So city and regional district elections. I just wanted to point out that you have the right to vote in local government elections. So if you live within the city boundaries, you get to vote for mayor and council. If you live outside of the city of Williams Lake boundaries, you get to vote for your regional director. So all local government elections are held every 4 years at the same time across BC, which is the 3rd Saturday in October. We're currently halfway through our 4-year term, so 2 years in, and the next local government election is October 24th, 2022. I have a picture here of just the current City of Williams Lake Council, which is made up of Mayor Walt Cobb. We've got councillors Craig Smith, Jason Ryle, Scott Nelson, Ivan Bunnell, Sheila Bohm, and Marnie Brenner. The Cariboo Regional District is a little bit harder to kind of wrap your head around. Again, the province is divided up into a number of regional districts. We belong to the Cariboo Regional District, which is made up of 16 directors. I've kind of put a map outlining area A to J, and you can see that J is the West Chilcotin, which is by far the largest geographic area, and that director is Gerald Kirby for the West Chilcotin. East Chilcotin, your director is Chad Murnett. And so the regional district meets in Williams Lake and sits down and discusses and makes decisions over regional area decision making. So provincial government. So provincial elections are usually held every 4 years. And as I said earlier, BC is divided into 87 ridings, which means there would be 87 MLAs. We vote for our MLA, we don't vote for the premier. And so the party that gets the most seats forms government. So we typically have a two-party government in BC. We have the Liberals on the right and we have the NDP on the left. And the Green Party has definitely grown in the last few years. So the last election was quite interesting. It was just before the fires of 2017 in May. And we did not have a majority government. And so majority is just over half. So you would need 44 seats. So at that election, the Liberals received 43 seats with Christy Clark. The NDP had 41 seats and the Green had 3 seats. So there was no majority. And so the Liberals tried to form government. They tried to make a deal with the Greens. It did not work out. And John Horgan was successful. And they formed a coalition that up to just recently was quite successful in the province of BC until John Horgan called an election in September. So Andrew Weaver, who was his partner in that coalition, was the leader of the Green Party, and he stepped down and he is now an independent and is not running in the next election. This is just a picture of the Premier, John Horgan. He is, if you read the papers, he's the most popular premier in Canada during the recent pandemic. And then we have our current MLA, Donna Barnett, who is with the Liberal Party. And Donna announced earlier this year that she will not be rerunning this election. So on October 24th, you get to decide, your vote counts, on who you want to lead your province. So we've got the current premier, John Horgan. The Liberals have a new leader in Andrew Wilkinson. And then recently, in September, they have a new Green leader, which is Sonia Furstenau. They just had a few debates, and Sonia has done very well in speaking out for what she believes in. So the big election, the provincial election, is on Saturday, October 24th. And to be eligible to vote, you must be a Canadian citizen, be 18 years old, and lived in BC for the last 6 months. Advanced polls have now opened starting October 15th to October 21st, so you can beat the rush. And even if you are not registered to vote or don't have a voting card, you can still vote. That's important to note. By bringing one piece of ID, which could be your status card, or there's other pieces of ID you could bring. And if you want to look and find out more information, you can just check that out at BC Elections online. And there's also important to just remember that you don't have to own land to vote. Some people really think that they have to be a landowner, and that's not the case. So moving on to the federal government. And so when you hear MPs, members of parliament, that's dealing with federal government. So in Canada, our House of Commons, which is in Ottawa, has 338 seats or ridings. So again, the country is divided up into 338 ridings. The majority of those ridings are held in the provinces of Ontario and Quebec because of the population. So again, we vote for our local MP. We don't vote for the Prime Minister. And currently in Canada, we have a minority Liberal government. Our last election was a year ago, and the Liberals got a minority government. And so I've just listed, out of that 338 seats, that the Liberals got 154, Conservatives got 121, and then it goes all the way down. So if you, again, been reading anything in the news, there could be another federal election, so we don't have to wait for 4 years, depending on whether or not Trudeau and his government, the Liberal government, can make some agreements or some type of agreements with one of the other minority parties, which they just made some alliance with the NDP government so that they can still move forward without calling an election. Okay. So there's a picture of our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, and our local MP is Todd Doherty. He was born in Williams Lake, but he now lives in Prince George, and he is a Conservative Party member, and he represents the Cariboo Prince George riding. So we've had a lot of new faces on the federal scene. So Jagmeet Singh is our federal NDP leader. So he's been around for a few years now in the last election. But just a few weeks ago, the federal Green Party elected their new leader, Elizabeth May, retired or stepped down. And so we have a new Green leader, Anna May Paul, who is a lawyer from Ontario. And then the Conservative Party also had a new leadership race in August, I believe. And so Andrew Scheer is no longer the Conservative leader. We have Erin O'Toole, newly elected leader. To get involved at that level of leadership, to make your vote count for leadership, you have to be a party member. So it's just a small group that actually determines the next provincial or federal leaders. I added this because you hear a lot in the news, left parties or left-leaning or right parties. So this is just some very, very general information. But parties on the left tend to be parties that believe in more government-run programs. They are advocates of social programs, increasing social programs. Some would say they're more environmentally aware. Left-leaning parties are NDP parties, both provincially and federally, would be considered left-leaning, as well as the Green Party, both federally and provincially. Parties that lean to the right would be parties that favor less government. So they believe free enterprise. They tend to be more fiscally conservative. They would be dealing or higher priority with the economy. So you hear that a lot. And examples of right-leaning parties would be the Conservative Party of Canada. Our BC Liberal Party is a right party. And of course, in the States, it would be the Republican Party in the United States. Federally, the Liberal Party used to be a central party, but it's now more central left-leaning, I think, than what we've seen in the past. So that's just a little snapshot of what's going on, I think, in our provincial and federal local politics. I wish I was there in person to answer any questions. Again, I just want to really impress upon you how important it is to get informed and to get out and vote. It doesn't take that long, and it really means you're part of the process. So that's all I have today, and I hope you have I hope your party wins. Make your vote count. Thank you.